We're about to learn over 10 ways to look like a complete badass with coins or poker chips. Try not to be too much cooler than your friends. And watch out for blisters.
Hey everyone, Rich Ferguson here, and I'm going to be teaching you 10 ways to look like a complete badass with poker chips or coins. That's right, so stick around to the end of the video because we're going to be doing an awesome giveaway, and make sure you're subscribed to this video so you can participate. And once you're subscribed, make sure you turn on notifications so you never miss one of my uploads. I'm going to give away a signed copy of this case of my poker DVDs that teaches you chip tricks and card stunts and ways to do just awesome things with chips and cards. So without further ado, make sure you smash the like button and let's do this. Now I'll tell you right up front that you can do a lot of these with poker chips or coins or silver dollars, half dollars, quarters, whatever that seems to work best for you. I like poker chips because they're big, they're visual, and when you're playing poker, it's a really cool way to convey to the table that you've been around the block, and it makes it look like you have a lot of experience, and it's also just something fun to do to pass the time because poker is such a long grind of a game. So check this out. This first one is called the Rolldown. You're gonna hold a stack of 4 chips between your first finger and thumb, and then watch this. They roll down to all your fingers. Now this is not automatic, they don't just roll down. Let me show you step by step what's happening here. So hold the stack of chips between your first finger and thumb, and then you're gonna take your ring finger and it's gonna reach around and touch the edge of the chips on the far side by your thumb. You're gonna pull the top 3 chips away, leaving the one that's in the back that's toward you in place between your first finger and thumb, and then do this. And just that alone is going to make your fingers hurt if you've never done this kind of stuff, because it takes a lot of dexterity and just kind of muscle memory in your fingers. So to start off, hold them like this, pull the top 3 away, leaving the first one between your first finger and thumb. Then you're going to do the same thing again with your ring finger, reach up and pull. You're going to reach up and put the middle finger and ring finger together. On the back, you're going to leave the closest chip to you in place between your middle finger and first finger, pinched between these two just like this. And it's your ring finger, your third finger, that's going to pull away 2 more chips just like you did to begin with. And last but not least, you're going to do the same thing with your pinky, but there's a really good chance you can't reach. So what you're going to do is cheat. So separate your pinky and ring finger, but make sure your pinky comes toward your face a little bit so when this chip falls, you can catch it right there, and now you have all 4 chips. So let me show you again in slow motion. And one more time from your perspective. Now to put them back together, bring your fingers together so your thumb touches the bottom coin, roll it up, roll the second one down, and put the first one back. So you're going to cradle them between your ring finger and your middle finger instead of your first finger and thumb to begin with. And then you roll all 4 of those back to the beginning position, and then you can do it again. Now the first one, I taught you how to roll the coins down to each finger, and you end up in this position with a coin between each finger. This next effect ends up the same way, but how you get there is way different. It's called the butterfly. And it's like a butterfly because they open up in the middle, kind of like butterfly wings. So what happens is you're going to start off with the coins between the middle finger and thumb this time, and this is what happens. You pull it down and they separate at once. It's a very quick way to produce the 4 chips or coins between your fingertips. Let me walk you through really close what's happening. So once again, you're going to start with 4 chips, but between the middle finger and thumb, balanced centrally like this. Then you're going to tilt your hand slightly forward and let those chips cradle between these 3 fingers like this. Then you're going to pull the back 2 chips. Then you bring your first finger over and make contact in that V right there. And what's going to happen is you're going to bring your first finger and ring finger together, separating those into this figure 8. Now if you're trying this is already going to give your fingers cramps, but at this point the trick's almost done. You have one more thing to do, and then pop, you have 4 coins between your fingers. So you've gotten to this figure 8 position. You're going to take your pinky and bring it to your thumb, and you're going to take the coin that's closest to you and keep contact with your thumb on that coin, and the coin that's furthest from you is going to be overtaken by the pinky, and you're going to separate those. So the pinky stays in place and the thumb does the pulling. Now on the top 2 coins, something similar is going to happen. The top coin that's closest to you is going to be held between your middle finger and first finger right here, and then the coin that's furthest away from you is going to be overtaken by your middle finger and this ring finger right there. And it almost naturally happens because of the position of the chips or coins. And so then from there, you simply open up your fingers and you have these 4 coins magically and almost instantly separated. Now from here you can put the coins back together in various ways. You can drop them one at a time onto the awaiting hand. You can make a pile. You can reverse them like the way I showed you in the first trick. Or, this is my favorite, just make a fist and they automatically, well, almost automatically, try it, you won't believe it. And from here, turn your hand sideways and you can do this. Open your hand up and the coins almost balance magically on all your fingertips. Now, if you happen to know how to roll your fingers, very simply like this, like a magician, you can bring those coins into your fist and you have this nice perfect stack of the chips again. How cool is that? So now let me walk you through this very slowly from your perspective so you can see how this works. Again, start off with the chips between your first finger and thumb. Bring your ring finger forward and underneath to help cradle it, because your first finger and thumb should almost be able to be free. So they just cradle here and stay on their own balance. Then you pull back with your thumb, the back 2 chips, and then your first finger finds that V. You squeeze that together and now you have this figure 8. Once you have this, what I call figure 8, you're going to bring your pinky to your thumb and pinky are going to separate at the same time that your first finger and ring finger separate. And remember, the back 2 coins, the ones closest to you, are going to stay on the upward side. So this coin and this coin on the back are going to go with the top 3 fingers, and as they separate, they stay because of the angle at which you're holding it. It's almost automatic. And then the bottom 2 coins stay between your middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. Now one more time at full speed, you can see that even upside down it still works. I'm fighting gravity and it still works so well. If I was to do this the regular direction when you're starting off with your hand kind of upwards, well obviously it still works that way too. So this is such a badass way to separate coins between your fingers. Now make sure you hit that like button. Now for those that are curious, you can do more chips, except it's going to take a lot of practice. Now here's a large stack of chips, but what you do is you have to make sure that you separate the chips 2 by 2 by 2, and that, my friends, is some badass chip manipulation. And just for fun from your perspective, crazy, right? Alright guys, for this next one, you've probably heard of gravity and how a chip will fall downwards. Well, have you ever heard of a chip falling upwards? That's weird, right? Literally a chip falling upwards. Well, I'm going to teach you this. This is also something you can do from side to side. You can ricochet it off of things. You can actually shoot it into someone's pocket once you get control. It's also a way that you can actually make a coin appear on the other hand. Nothing in my hand, and then the coin appears. It's the coolest thing. It's called a muscle pass or anti-gravity. It takes a bit of a knack and just a way to move your hand to make this thing throw. So you're not really throwing it, it's popping off of a special spot in your hand. Check this out. So what you're going to do is get used to holding the coin in your hand so your hands are free like this. This is a classic palm in Magic, so you have a coin hidden there and then it doesn't look like it's there and you produce it in some way. So magicians have learned over the years that if you squeeze and have this coin pop off of this part of your thumb, you see when this coin is held right here, it's held between 2 pieces of skin. You wedge it in there, right here between the fatty tissue of your base of your thumb and palm and somewhere in your palm. So once that's in there and you squeeze it, well, it's held by 2 points. If you let it go from this point, not here, not inside your palm, but off of the thumb part, if you squeeze really hard, there's a hunk of skin being squeezed there, and if you squeeze and let it pop, literally pop off of that, it will send this guy flying forward or upwards, and that's how you're able to get that pop or jump. So the main thing you got to do is just get used to holding there and pinching. Pinch really hard until you can get it to pop off of that. I will warn you that after only 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to have a little bit of a sore spot here. It goes away, but if you practice this way too much the first day and you've never done this, you might even get a blister. So take it easy, don't push too hard. I can't stress this enough. At first, just get it to pop off of that side and just move. Just get it to flip over or jump a little bit. You can squeeze just enough to get a little bit of air or just enough to get it to pop to the other hand, but don't squeeze so hard that you're going to give yourself a blister. It's not worth it. And then after a while, you're going to learn how to do this technique where you make it jump from one place to another with a lot of great control, and then you can have it jump up to other hands, ricochet off of other chips that are on your table. I'll show you that in a minute. But here's some of the fine-tuned tips on this effect. Once you have gotten familiar with locking the coin in with this position, from there, to get it to jump up of great heights, just the popping alone is not going to do it. You're going to get a subtle pop with your hand, Not a throw, just a little bit of a shove. It's very subtle, but just enough to give a little bit of extra momentum. Going upwards like anti-gravity is very cool, but don't forget the power of this to have the coin here and have it go to the other hand as you move. Don't forget that you could do things like shoot this into the awaiting pocket of someone that you might want to tip, awaiting fingertips of the other hand. Know that you can ricochet this off of other objects. It's unbelievably cool once you master tossing this thing. Now, just to demonstrate the control you can get once you master this, is I'm going to make a fist and have an opening here just barely enough for this coin to go in, and I'm going to shoot this sucker right inside. And I do open my hand just a little bit to receive it, but look at that. It goes in like butter. It's so cool, you guys. I can't express this enough. Once you master this, if you guys want to learn some more tricks you can do with just this technique, I will make a video for that because it's really unlimited. Now, just once from your perspective, push a coin into your hand and have it be squeezed between the fatty tissue and somewhere in your hand. It really doesn't matter. It depends on you. That's it. And just kind of get used to holding the coin there, and you're going to have it squeeze and push off right there where it has that little bit of a pop. Right there. Pop. That's it. Now, don't forget to give this video a big sore thumbs up. If you've ever been to a poker game or watched poker on TV, you probably hear this familiar noise, right? What is that? That's chip shuffling. That's right. It's where you're actually shuffling the chips just like you would with a deck of cards. There's a couple different methods to doing this, either a hard surface or soft surface. Let me show you up close. To start, I think it's best to work with about 8 chips. So 4 chips in 2 piles next to each other. You're going to place your pinky and thumb in the back to support the back stack. And then in the front, you're going to place your middle finger and your first finger in trap in the front. So basically, you've made a cage that allows you to push these around. In the back, your ring finger is doing nothing because it's going to play an integral role in lifting up the chips to make them shuffle. So what you do is you're going to apply pressure toward the front stack with your pinky and thumb, and in the front, you're going to pull backwards with your first 2 fingers, and what you're essentially going to do is push these chips together and cause them to shuffle like that. But you're going to be doing it with one hand. So in the back 2 fingers, in the front 2 fingers, your ring finger is available to lift up. So pull up on the bottom. I'm going to turn around so you can see the other direction. So pinky and thumb, first 2 fingers. Your ring finger is going to be free to pull up in the middle as you push the 2 stacks together with your outside 2 fingers. And then what it causes is the chips to rise, and then you slowly let them fall apart into each other. So let me do it again, facing this direction without the ring finger in the way. And you'll notice that I tilt it up, and then look. So obviously, another important part of this is pulling off a stack of 4 and placing it next to another stack of 4, or 5 and 5, or 6 and 6. They just have to be even, and you have to get used to pulling off and putting a stack next to each other, then trapping it with your fingers like I showed you, and then from there you can shuffle them. Now that's a great shuffling technique if you're almost on any surface. Now if you're on a soft surface, here's even an easier way to shuffle. Now you'll notice if the surface is soft enough, you can just use 2 fingers and literally push down and press together, and you'll notice that the chips automatically lift up in the middle and push down on the edges because there's enough give in the material that causes these outside 2 edges to push down, therefore causing the middle to go up. So I just shuffled those with literally just 2 fingers. That was it. Now what you might want to do is practice with 2 fingers on the outside for just a little bit of balance. Put your thumb on the other side, push down into the surface, and push together, and you'll notice that the chips come together. One other tip is you can use another finger on the front or back for a little bit of additional balance. Now I just wanted to show you that if the surface is soft enough, you can push with only 2 fingers on the outside edge and literally get these things to shuffle. I cheated just for a second with my finger for balance because they started to slip. One more time from your perspective, the any surface shuffle, pull up in the middle with your ring finger to help get that tilt to happen, which is essential to the shuffling. And one more time up close if you have a soft surface. And yes, once you master one of the techniques, you can do really large stacks of chips. Oh yeah, the classic coin roll or knuckle roll. Now this is great. You've seen it in movies. Maybe you've tried it. Maybe some of you are magicians. I don't know. But there's a couple subtle things I wanted to teach you here that might improve your game or even teach you how to do this. Now the biggest trick to this is you're not using your thumb whatsoever until It's right here, and you use your thumb to get the coin back from one side to the other. Now watch. Once the thumb places the coin on top, from here, it's just the fingers doing the work. The thumb never is moved until I retrieve it underneath and then start over. So let me show you really slowly the mechanics of this. You start with the coin in your hand, and you bring it up and pinch it between your first finger and thumb. And what you do is you tilt your hand and let that coin flop over to the top of that finger. Now, the other thing is, you're not doing this on the front of your fingers or your fingertips. It's really way up here on the top of your hand. A little bit onto this first knuckle, just a little bit. So it balances there. It's also important that you find a coin or chip that once rested on the top of this first finger, the next finger is able to reach up and grab that overhanging lip. If a coin was too small, I wouldn't be able to grab it. Like a penny or a dime, I wouldn't be able to roll it too easily because I would have to reach so far over to grab it. So the fact that the coin overhangs is very crucial to the fact that you can reach up with the next finger and pull it over. And notice that the thumb is not used until this last finger. Now what's interesting is it doesn't go over the pinky for this basic version. It's going to go underneath, and you move your other fingers up and out of the way so the thumb can then go underneath, and then that coin gets slid across all your fingers and then back across the top again. So that's the basic mechanics of this. Now what's interesting is if you get really fast, right here, you can just toss it. Now I can't show you this in slow motion, but when I'm going really fast, I don't even make contact with my thumb way over here. I actually just chuck the coin and catch it mid-throw and continue. So right there, I almost just throw it. I don't slide it all along the bottom of my fingers. That takes too long. But that's how you want to start so you can make it nice and smooth. Now, if you want to go over the pinky, you can go onto the awaiting hand and then repeat the process across the other hand. And you can go round and round all day long. How cool is that? Now, one more time from your perspective. Underneath, remember, just pinch it with your pinky and your ring finger, and underneath, grab with your thumb and slide it and put it up to the side of this first finger right here. And it's the next finger that goes up and grabs that edge and pulls down, and that's what causes it to lever up. How cool is that? Another trick that's really popular is the flip. Literally just flipping one coin from the front to the back. I'm going to show you that method and an advanced method I came up with where you pull back all the chips and you slide the chip from the front to the back with your middle finger. It's a lot faster, a lot slicker. Let me show you up close what it looks like. For the basic flip, just hold a stack of 4 or 5 chips between your thumb and your middle finger from edge to edge straight across, and then turn your hand sideways and let the chips rest like that, but you're going to bring your ring finger up and let it cradle as well. So you're going to trap it in kind of a triangle. Now the thumb should be able to be free if you move your other finger. So if you can see this, thumb and middle finger is directly across the axis, and then underneath I let the chips rest on this cradle between the middle finger and ring finger. Now this lets you know that you're in the right position if you can do this. So that's the right position, and from here all you're going to do is take the thumb and roll off the front chip between your first finger and thumb, roll it up, and then let it come down flat, and then you pull it over to the back of these chips. You can see when you pull the first chip up, if you push the thumb down, it flattens it along the top of the chips. Continue pushing down, and it causes it to flip over the back of the stack. All you're doing is causing that flip to happen. Now, little by little, as you do this, the chips become further and further deep into your hand, so you might readjust them more to your fingertips so that you can continue this process. From your perspective, just lift up between the first finger and thumb, and the thumb is doing all the work, flat and down. If I was to go slow, it goes up, flatten it, and then literally just push down with your thumb. That's all you have to do. But in one full speed, it really just flips over pretty automatically. Not too difficult, right? Well, let me show you an advanced method I think is a little slicker, a little more fun to do, and I think also a little faster. You're going to hold the chips in the exact same position to where you have this kind of freedom. But what you're going to do is reach forward with the thumb, and you're going to pull all of the chips away except the front chip. So it's kind of the opposite. Pull all those chips away, and what's going to happen is you're going to have that first chip literally balancing all by itself right here. It's not even being held by anything. It's just sitting there on its own between your middle finger and ring finger. Just let it sit there. Don't open your finger so far that it falls through. So start with that regular position to start with. Pull back all the chips in the back. See? All the chips are coming with my thumb, all of them except for that front one. And then from there, you're going to pull with your middle finger, and it's going to be the same thing as before, but instead of the thumb doing the work, it's the middle finger. Now once again, from your perspective, pull all the chips back and let the middle finger pull that chip over the top and push down into the back of that stack. How cool is that? Because when that chip goes, it's quick. Now it was 2. You could do 2 every time if you want. Just pull back the appropriate amount of chips and then pull. So you could do 2 or 3, whatever you want. Pretty sweet, right guys? This next trick is called a twirl. It's a little easier than it looks. It requires 3 chips or 3 coins. It's fantastic with quarters. And let me show you up close how it works. Hold 3 chips between your first finger and thumb. I'm purposely having a different colored chip in the middle. It's a blue chip, you can see right here. And what you're going to do is bring your ring finger underneath and pull away the center chip. Now, how can you just pull away the center chip? Well, that takes a speck of practice, but there's a secret and there's a cheat to this. So what you can do is start off with the chips all squared up. And what you do is to start with, take your thumb away, let the chips balance between your middle finger and ring finger and your first finger. You're going to take your thumb and you're going to pull up on the back chip. Just a little bit. Just pull up on that back chip. And what it's doing underneath is causing you to have a little access to that middle chip. From now on, it's a very simple matter of bringing this ring finger to the back to where it meets your thumb, and you pull away with that middle chip on the top of your ring finger right against its knuckle. And it's going to pull out completely like this. And then what happens is that chip that you've pulled out, the coin or chip, is between your first finger and ring finger, and it's this middle finger that's free that's literally going to twist it. And once it's twisted 180 degrees, exactly straight again, it's still lined up exactly where it needs to go back up inside, and then you repeat it. Now what's cool is once you do this one time, that chip is never completely 100% squared up. It sticks out just a minute amount that allows you to easily and quickly pull that baby out and twist it. Again, from your perspective, I'll go slow. You pull it out between your first finger and ring finger. You reach this ring finger all the way back and touch your thumb, and it's going to be grabbing that chip. Pull it out. The middle finger is free to twist it, and then it goes right back into that slot again. How cool is that? Now to start with, if you can't quite get to that middle chip or coin, remember to take your thumb free and lift up on that back chip just to slightly expose that middle chip, and once it's exposed, you're good to go. Now at regular speed, it looks like this. It's really common when you're playing with poker chips that you're either going to throw a chip onto the table or give it to the dealer as a tip. Now here's a really fun way and a flourishy way to shoot a chip out of your stack using almost a magic trick. It's called a push through. Let me show you up close how cool this looks and how you do it. You're going to lift up all your chips except the bottom chip, leave it in place. You're going to use this as a special tool in a second. Bring the rest of your chips forward, and then as if you're going to shuffle your chips, put them touching and squeeze them all together with 2 fingers trapped in front and then your thumb in the back to do the pushing. And what you're going to do is squeeze really hard between the first 2 fingers that are trapped along the whole stack of your chips and your thumb. Once you have a little bit of pressure, let the front chip come out from underneath your fingertips, and it's going to go forward. So one more time, put your stack in front, squeeze between the back chip and the front chips. Make sure the front chips are trapped. You're going to push really hard, and then let your front 2 fingers come up a little bit, not tilting the chips, just let them come up onto the rest of the chips, letting the bottom chip free under your skin and your fingertips. So what will happen when you do that is you'll cause a chip to slide out. If you want it to shoot really far, squeeze harder, but also as it releases, give the whole stack a bit of a nudge. One more time from the back angle, all the chips go forward, let them go down, and you're going to squeeze against this bottom chip and trap the front one and squeeze really hard, and that bottom chip then gets propelled forward. This next one's called the pinch toss, and all it is a fancy way to show off with your chip and make it jump and come back to you. How cool is that? Let's come in close so I can show you exactly how to hold this so you can get that perfect spin. All you're gonna do is hold the chip between your middle finger and thumb, but not at 3 and 6 o'clock. It's gonna be more like 4 and 8 o'clock, a little toward the bottom edge, and you're gonna pinch. But if you pinch from here and it goes up, it's gonna wobble quite a bit and spin around. So to prevent the wobbling and have the chip go straight up perfectly, put your first finger right against your thumb, and that little bit of support against this chip causes it to go into the air straight and not wobble back and forth. And then from there, it's up to you if you want to have it ricochet on the table, spin on the table and come back to you, or bounce and come back to you. It's totally up to you, but that's how you can spin the coin nice and straight and get a lot of spin on it to do some cool tricks. Last but definitely not least is my favorite way to produce a coin. Because of how the coin or chip is held, you can rotate from front to back without revealing where the coin is at. You can move your fingers around. You have a lot of freedom, and then when you want to produce it, it just appears. How cool is that? Let me show you up close the mechanics of this. There's a lot of different levels to this effect, but this is by far my favorite way to produce a coin right out of midair. So what you're gonna do is take a coin and pinch it between your first finger and middle finger so that you can pull it back like this. It's this pulling back action that's gonna allow you to hide it in the notch of the base of your thumb right here. So right here inside of your thumb where it's rounded is where you're gonna stick the coin, the $50, the silver dollar, the poker chip, whatever you want, right there, and then you hold it with your thumb. Then what's really cool, if you bring your finger around, you can see that it's disguised if you're making this OK symbol here. So you're able to go from this direction all the way to this direction, and no one can ever see that. Now you have a lot of movement with your hand still. You can rotate back around, and as long as your thumb is not like this or your hand is not tilted, they can't see it, and you have a lot of flexibility. Now to produce it, the simple basic way is to reach back with your first two fingers right here and grab that. Now I'm exposing this to you right now, of course. That's not what you want to do. You want to be like this. Now I'm going to show this exposed. What you're going to do is reach back with your first two fingers and pinch that, bring it forward, and then push it up with your thumb so it appears. When you reach back and pinch that coin, just like you did when you put it away, bring it forward, but not all the way forward. You're going to stop with the coin still slightly hidden into where your thumb can simply do that. From the front, it would look like this. You pinch it and then just push it up with your thumb. So don't come all the way out because that doesn't look good. Stop midway right here and then push up with your thumb. Now, to do the advanced method, this is the cream of the crop. This is so impressive, and it's a little bit more advanced. It's going to take a little bit of practice, that's for darn sure. I've been doing this for years. Let me show you how fast the coin appears from different angles. Now, of course, on some of these angles you can see it, but I'm just showing you how it pops out. So it's the same exact thing as before, but instead of curling back and pulling it forward, what I'm going to do is reach back with just my middle finger, because then from the front you still see a finger sticking out there, and look at that, the coin's right there out of sight, but this first finger's holding it, and then I pop it up with my thumb and first finger. It takes a lot more coordination, but damn, it is fast and cool. So one more time, just roll that coin out on just the side edge of this middle finger, and then when it gets to the point to where it's about to be exposed to the front, you're going to pinch the back edge with just the very bottom edge of the chip or coin with the edge of your thumb and cause it to pop up between the thumb and first finger. Now just that part alone takes a lot of practice. That popping up part right there to get it to snap does take a little bit of a knack, because it's not just leveraging it up, it's actually popping it up. There's a big difference. And then to make it even more impressive, just a little bit of a pop in the hand causes it to be even quicker. Now, of course, you want to practice all these with your other hand, because you never know what angles you're going to be dealing with. I really hope you enjoyed some of the subtleties and secrets behind how to manipulate coins or chips. Now, of course, you can use this in magic, in poker, or in everyday life, just screwing around in school with a couple quarters. It's so fun. It's just a fun thing to do with your fingers. Now, I'm going to be doing this giveaway, so make sure you subscribed, you've turned on your notifications, and you comment down below And I'm going to send this off to one of you guys next week. And I thank you guys so much for all the support. And make sure you smash that like button and share this video with all your friends. All right, guys, I'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Subscribe to Rich Ferguson, or else.